All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today, we're just going to touch on a little bit of hot topics. We're going to talk about Kyle and Mauricio and the alleged split. And also, I want to talk about Kim Zolciak because I have a funny feeling and a sneaky suspicion that something is going on behind the scenes. And honey, I am not with it. And I want to get your thoughts on that. So, we're going to cover Kyle and Mauricio's alleged separation. And I'm going to say alleged because Kyle came out with a public statement on yesterday, and she denied any plans for a divorce. So we have to say alleged over here. And then we're going to shift to Kim Zolciak / Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I'll get into the why and why I am not here for it. So, let's get into it. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
Okay, so let's talk Kyle and Mauricio. And y'all, I have a funny joke for you. I'm really emphasizing Kyle because Black people say cow. So I was like, girl, when you say it, make sure you say Kyle because you never know who's tuned in. So Kyle instead of cow and Mauricio, Kyle and Mauricio. When I first heard they were divorcing, separating, whatever, y'all, my heart dropped because they give great television. They have exemplary chemistry, and I really like them as a couple. I'm not always proud of their behavior as a couple, but I really like them as a couple, and I actually pegged them as one of the top reality television couples. They look great together. They seem to have a really strong, solid family unit, and I just love the dynamics that they brought to the television, even what seems to be outside of television. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling some kind of way about this, be it true or untrue. I'm a huge advocate for marriage, and my heart just sank, which is why I did not jump on this story initially, because I was like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm too close to this. Like, we talking 27 years. We're talking 27 years. Y'all are there. You're at the finish line. And outside of abuse and just what we're hearing, the rumor mill is it's been a tough year. Okay. And get through it. Push through. You done had 27 years of practice. You will not allow one tough year to take you out and dismantle and deconstruct everything that you have built. And I really feel like sometimes when I see celebrities of this caliber, they've built so much by way of just as a couple, as a union, as a marriage. Now, listen, let me just say, I'm not in their marriage. I don't know everything that's going on. I can only chime in from the outside looking in. But based on what I've seen outside of marriages are hard, but outside of marriages just being hard, listen, y'all 27 years deep. And I wish celebrity couples had more. Well, I wish they had less pretentious friends that would sit them down and say, what the hell are y'all doing? So what? I get it. It's been a hard year. But think about the other 26 years. Think about when you get over that hump of having a hard year. You've done it. You did it. Is this really enough? One hard year. Is this really enough to call it quits? Now, I don't know any further detail outside of what I see in the media. But if it's just strictly to just it being a hard year, I would probably say hang in there, guys. Hang in there, Kyle. Hang in there, Mauricio. Do what you need to do. Because one advantage that they do have as a couple, they have a lot of money. Some people don't have access to the financial benefit that they have, right? By way of purchasing the most experienced marriage counselor, a person that can sit you both down and say, wait a minute, is there too much water under the bridge? Can we take a step back? Can we just pause? Why do you both feel like we've come to the end of the road? Is there anything you would be willing to do? Should we consider a little bit of space? Should we consider maybe some organic dates? Should we rewind the hands of time? What is it that you need, Kyle? What is it that you need, Mauricio? Because you got a lot of time invested in this thing. And they're both in their 50s. And I don't care if they move on from this. It'll never be that. And y'all forgive me because I'm a sucker for love when it's right. I'm a sucker for love when it's right. And outside of a little, whatever they've gone through here or there, I don't recall hearing any rumors of either one of them abusing the other, okay? So it's being reported that the couple has separated after 27 years of marriage. Oh, I want y'all to make it because this generation ain't shit. People do not stay together anymore, and y'all really deserve to stay together if it's worth the fight to either of you, okay? Now, it's being reported that they've been separated for a while, but they're still living in the same house. See, you see what money can afford you? You see what a little bit of money can afford you? The house is big enough that we can cohabit in the same home. We have a chef. As a woman, because we have money, I don't have to cook for you. You don't have to cook for me. You don't have to ask me if I want Wingstop on your way home. You can handle yourself. I can handle myself. And we can try to continue our day-to-day routine until we make the formal decision that we are going to divorce, okay? So it sounds like they're trying to figure out what's next for the both of them. But here's the plot twist. The plot twist is that Kyle is being alleged to be in a relationship, okay, with a country singer. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the streets are saying. Now, until I know, and until Kyle comes out and say, this is my girlfriend, this is who I'm with, I'm proceeding with my divorce, it's all alleged. I don't know that to be true because Kyle did deny that there was any plans for a divorce. Both individuals as a couple acknowledged that there have been difficulties. They have had a rough year. Now, I'm curious because I really want to know when it comes to rich people with access to that type of money, what... I'm being petty because you know us everyday people, we have a rough year every fucking day. But listen, what constitutes a rough year for y'all? I really want to know. And listen, I was going to say I'm not being petty, but I'm being real petty because we live on two different hemispheres of the planet. We live in completely different tax brackets, but I want to know what's your enough, what's your threshold when you got that much money, that much access, and you have nothing but yes people around you that at the drop of a dime, they do everything that you need them to do. They say everything you need them to say. And I want to know, when it comes to love, what's a rough year? And I'm not trying to be funny. I would love to ask them. Is it that Mauricio is working too hard? Is it that Kyle became too emotional? I just want to know. Or is it something that could actually be worked through by layman's terms or just us normal people where we'll look at you and say, okay, whatever, y'all are tripping. Get through it. You got this. Okay, here's what you need to do. Take her out on a date. Get out your feelings, girl. I don't know. But I would love to ask. I just want to know, was this separation announced out of desperation? And if so, was it on the part of Kyle? Was it on the part of Mauricio? I don't see Mauricio being very emotional. He seems to be very laid back, chill, kind of an asshole at times. I don't see him rushing to an impromptu decision to bail out on his marriage, but I can see Kyle being extremely emotional and pulling the plug in the heat of a moment. So what are y'all's thoughts when it comes to Kyle and Mauricio? What are your thoughts? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You know what? If you don't want to be together, this is a day and age that we live in where your personal happiness comes first. Put marriage on the back burner. Do what you need to do, sis. Do what you need to do, bro. File for that divorce, sign them papers like Usher say. Or should they stick it out and work it out by default of 27 years? Okay, I am shifting to Kim Zolciak and the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Recently, Kim Zolciak has been in the media, in the news, in the tabloids, everywhere, honey. Kim and that blonde wig has been up in your face, up and close. More so now than we've seen her in the last, 3-4 years, okay? And it came by way of her divorcing her husband. Her and her husband filing for divorce, which is Kroy, because of financial challenges, financial irresponsibilities, all of that stuff. Now, I told y'all a while back, I am Team Kroy all the way. I am Team Kroy all the way. If you don't know why, honey, go back, check my videos. I don't have time to explain. I'm going to make this really quick. Kim has always been a problem child to me, for me. She's always been irresponsible to me, in my opinion, when it came to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. All Kim gave, and I didn't know any better when I first started watching it, was dysfunction, disruption, toxic trauma. But I was young and I didn't know any better. And honey, I enjoyed it because at that age, when she was drinking, I was drinking. And I could because I was a different age, but I didn't understand the impact of her behaving the way that she behaved as a mother, raising 2 young daughters. So let's fast forward. The reason why I became Team Kroy, Kim was able to swoop in and get her a younger guy. That's not the reason why I was Team Kroy. The reason why I was Team Kroy is because Kroy came in and he made shit happen. And I got to give that credit to his family. When you raise good children, when you raise your children to be respectful, you shelter them from all of the drama in the real world, be in the world and not of it. And you do your best to make sure they are surrounded by people that love them. They become unscathed when it comes to all of this craziness and these abnormalities when it comes to the world. Kroy came in to me with no blemishes in his reputation, no blemishes in his personality, no blemishes with his past. He was a good old American boy, and she was very lucky to have him, in my opinion, y'all. Feel free to tear it up in the comments. I'm okay with it. He jumped in. He started to play stepfather. He did all that. He drove for her like an Uber driver. He did all that. He did the best he could. He gave her baby after baby after baby. And I'm not sure what he really got in return. And now they're looking at a divorce where every other week they're calling the cops on each other. Who would imagine that they would be here, right? He's trying to gain full custody of his children just because he wants to raise them and ensure that they have a decent opportunity to survive everything that he and Kim are going through. And then Kim starts to touch on the possible return of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then I started thinking to myself, girl, you better not. Bravo, you better not. Andy, you better not. Because when you had Bravo, back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all on me. When you had access to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, you treated those women like shit. And I remember you saying that no white woman would want to film with, something like no white woman would want to be with them. And that's why it's hard for Bravo to cast. And you said some ridiculous crap. And in that moment, I stopped following her. I stopped following her on Snapchat. I stopped following her. I was like, she's done. That was very disrespectful. It was very distasteful. And I'm like, she's not getting my click. She's not getting my view. Period. Point blank. But I never thought ill of Kroy. Okay. So recently I've noticed that she's been talking about a possible return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, if you take what she's saying, and if you also take the rumors that Andy bailed her and Kroy out of financial turmoil and put up the money so that they could keep their house, I'm really scratching my head, okay? Because she's sounding pretty believable when she says, we'll see, stay tuned. And now Nene Leakes goes on record to say she forgives Kim Zolciak and all of the accusations of racism. I'm now thinking, I'm like, have y'all partnered up behind the scenes to try to do a 2-for-1 sale? If she come back, I'll come back. If you want me, you got to get Nene. Or if you want me, I say you got to bring Kim back. Because neither one of them would have an alliance, a strong alliance on the show. So all of a sudden, out of nowhere, follow me, a Hollywood paparazzi catches Nene on the streets and say, what do you think about Kim Zolciak? Yeah, it's looking pretty suspicious to me. And I feel like they're tag teaming this thing, allegedly, so that each of them could pitch the other should the network reach out to them individually. Now, from an entertainment perspective and from a business perspective, it's a hell of a move. But I'm going to just say, I'm not with it. I don't want it. And I'm going to give it a hard no. A hardcore no. But what are your thoughts? Are you for Kim Zolciak and Nene coming back as a pair? Do you think Nene was just chopping it up? The paparazzi just happened to catch her out in Hollywood and specifically ask about Kim Zolciak, and it's all innocent. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear.